One thing often presented by evolutionists as evidence for universal common descent is polygenic trees. However, what they often ignore is that they never have the alleged common ancestor between the branches. Furthermore, there does not need to be an actual relationship to be able to make such relational trees. All that is necessary is comparing patterns of what the objects being compared have in common. When presenting alleged evolutionary transitions, evolution will frequently simply provide a list of animals in the alleged transition series. The impression given by such a series is that there is a direct ancestor-descendant relationship between these animals. However, never do such transition series represent actual ancestor-descendant relationships, even according to evolutionists. Ultimately, these transitional series are actually based on polygenic trees, where all the actual animals are on side branches. Now, this still looks impressive, and it's likely to convince most people who see it that this is actually evidence of a relationship between these animals. However, if you look closely at this diagram, you will see a very important part of the picture completely missing. The red circles in this rendition of the wheel polygenic tree, it's a location of what would be the actual common ancestors, if any of this was actually real. Consequently, what is clearly missing are the actual ancestors and the actual evidence for any transition. All of these alleged transitions in polygenic trees are created in the minds of paleontologists and do not necessarily represent reality. Furthermore, when you take away the lines of the polygenic tree, which are only inferred by the presupposition of universal common descent, any appearance of evidence for evolution actually happening goes away. In this particular case, the two most critical transitional forms are incomplete fossils that are missing critical parts, such as limbs. This happens beyond simple little polygenic trees, but it includes even larger so-called family trees. When you look at a polygenic tree of dinosaurs as a whole, it seems to fit with universal common descent evolution. However, a closer look at the chart shows how much is evidence and how much is purely inference by evolutionists based on the presupposition of universal common descent. All you have to do is look at the legend to see that just the purple portion is based on actual fossil evidence. The rest is inference, based on the presupposition of universal common descent evolution. As with all other cases, any apparent evidence for universal common descent evolution completely disappears when you remove the inferences that result from assuming universal common descent evolution. In other words, it is pure circular reasoning to call such charts evidence for universal common descent because they are constructed based on its presupposition. This is further supported by the fact that you can produce these trees on any group of objects that have similar parts. The above example can be considered an evolutionary polygenic tree going from a knife to a fork. In this case, the intervening steps are actually clearer than in wheel evolution, and all of the examples are completely intact. However, they did not evolve, but they are the result of being intelligently designed for specific purposes. In conclusion, polygenic trees cannot be considered evidence for universal common descent evolution. Not only are they made under the presupposition of universal common descent, but any hint of universal common descent easily disappears when you take away the inferred additions. Consequently, claiming them as evidence is nothing but circular reasoning. Meanwhile, this type of tree can be produced with objects that have been engineered, but simply have things in common. This makes polygenic trees fully consistent with intelligent design.